These are the images of Washington, D.C. nightlife that we are used to. But when the lights die down in the nation's capital, a totally different kind of party begins, one that is dangerous and often abusive. Washington, D.C. is among the top places of human trafficking in the United States. According to experts, there are an estimated 200 to 300,000 children at risk. Tina Front was once part of this statistic. She left home with who she thought was her man of her dreams at the age of 14 and had no idea what she was getting herself into.
I didn't know what a pimp was, so he didn't come up to me and say, you know, here, this is what you're going to do, and I did it. It was more of a domestic violence situation where they pretend like he's your boyfriend, they care about you, pick you up, you tell them too much information that they use against you.
Soon after, Ms. Front realized that this man would force her into selling herself sexually.
I was raped into forced to do it, and I felt like it was my fault. He told me that, you know, if I would have just did it and all the stuff that he did for me, all the things that he bought for me, how could I betray him like that?
But going from victim to survivor was never easy.
I basically begged police to take me to a jail and that I was a juvenile. So I was arrested for a year in juvenile detention, and no one believed me, no one really cared.
And not having law enforcement on your side made things all the more difficult.
So then I realized everything that he told me, police would never believe me, they weren't going to do anything, pimping was legal, nothing would ever happen to him. That's exactly what happened, nothing ever happened to him. So I walked away from that situation thinking that I was in the wrong.
So what does one do to escape when it seems like even the police cannot do anything? The FAIR Fund, an anti-human trafficking group in Washington, D.C., is not relying on anyone but the few people who work there and their partners at local schools and juvenile detentions.
FAIR Fund works internationally to prevent sexual exploitation and sexual violence.
Amelia Korangi has dedicated her life to helping these young girls. She showed me how something called art therapy helps young children who may be at risk.
We ask them to draw what they think of, the first thing that comes to their mind when they hear the word either pimp or prostitute or sexual exploitation or trafficking. There are names of street signs, guns, there are names of people. It's really visceral and in your face.
Drawings such as these are typically done by 14 and 15-year-olds, and they speak to the realities of human trafficking.
As these young women continue to work for their peers, pimps roam the streets of major cities all over the world looking for young girls. And here in Washington, D.C., where power is concentrated in the hands of a select few, they seem to have no trouble finding their next victim. Dina Gosofsky, RT, Washington, D.C.